Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ancora Exchange series today. Thank you for joining us. Today, we'll be talking about our episode Shifting Gears Women Workforce and the Road Ahead. My name is Steve Loftus. I am the Business Development Manager with Ancora Training. I will be co hosting today's event with my colleague, Kerrigan Gibbons, who also serves as the Business Development Manager. Today, we're going to explore the opportunities for women in trucking, CDL training, pathways to meaningful career, how employers and educators and industry partners can help women be successful. Few housekeeping items at the moment. One, all microphones will be muted. So if you have questions, we encourage you to drop a question in the chat. If your question is for a specific individual, please list the name, whether it be for a speaker or for me or Kerrigan, list the name. And at the end of the event, we're going to list those questions in a live Q&A. If you don't list the name, it's going to be generally live for our panel. In my role and Kerrigan's role, we work with employers and colleges and workforce partners to develop training solutions to connect people and career opportunities and help organizations address workforce needs. For those who are less familiar with Ancora, we partner with employers, community colleges, workforce organizations, and government agencies to deliver a customized training in CDL, transportation, skilled trades, professional development. Trainings can take place either at your location, at a school, or online. Through the Exchange Series webinar, we also highlight graduates. We show real career experiences and bring workforce partners together for meaningful conversation. Today's topic is especially important because CDL training can provide a direct pathway to financial stability, professional growth, and long term opportunities. It is equally important that women see themselves represented and have a training resource and employer support as needed. With that, I'm going to turn this over to Kerrigan, who will walk us through today's agenda and introduce our great speakers. Kerrigan?
Thank you, Steve. Welcome, everyone. Super excited about this topic today. This Ancora Exchange is shifting gears, women workforce, and the road ahead. So here's a little bit of our run of show and how it's going to go today. I'm not going to read everything because everyone can read what's on the screen. However, I do want to bring light to our amazing guest speakers today and who they represent. So our first guest speaker is Christy Choice with 10th Street. Our second guest speaker is going to be Carlene Herndon, and she is with Women in Trucking. And then our third guest speaker is Edie Mays, and she is in the house under Ancora Training. So very excited to get started today and glad that you joined us for this awesome topic. So with that, we'll get right into it and we'll start the show.
Thanks, Kerrigan. So today I have the honor and privilege of speaking with Miss Christy Choice. I've known Christy for several years. She has been very, very active within the industry. I love being able to talk with her about different things. So, Christy, it's great to have you here today.
Great to be
Uh,
here, Steve. It's exciting.
so, with you and the ability to be in the industry, give us a little bit of a brief backstory. Some of the background and things about Christy Choice.
Wonderful. Well, glad to do it. Steve, I guess I don't know how many people know that I've been in software for close to 20 years. I've spent the last 8 years, though, at 10th Street. And so I work as a professional services consultant. At the meat of it, I just love to help people. And so in my current role, I'm able to do that. But I love getting out in the industry, learning more, developing relationships with our partners and with our clients and carriers all over the place. So it's a really great spot to be in.
That's outstanding. And I know the first time I met you was at a conference, so we kind of hit it off there. And usually when I have questions or need help with something, I'll usually call you. So,
Oh, yeah.
you know, being in the industry for the last 8 years, when you first jumped into the transportation and trucking industry, what surprised you first? I mean, what kind of got you as like, oh, type of moment?
Yeah. Well, I think a couple of things kind of were gotchas for me. But one of which used to work in healthcare software. And I mean, it was like healthcare was everywhere I would turn. There was always a lot of conversation around it. And what surprised me in trucking is that this is a multi-billion-dollar industry that's kind of like under your nose. If you don't know what's going on in trucking, you just keep moving along, driving alongside the trucks. But if you really, open your eyes, once you're in it, you're in it. And so once I opened my eyes and I was like, whoa, trucking is not just a big deal. It's a really, really big deal. And so then I began to lean into the media and how truck drivers are portrayed and what's going on with carriers. And of course, there's been so many regulatory updates and changes that keep every single day new, exciting, and fascinating for sure.
Outstanding. And how has your background in technology and you know played into the training and client success and how you approach challenges in the trucking industry? I mean, obviously there's a lot of tech. You bring a lot of that tech experience in, but how is that translated over and helped in the industry?
Well, I am fortunate that I've had some really, really great mentors throughout my life, personally and professionally. Folks have just taken me under their wing and just given me those skills, or told me what to work on and what to develop so that I could get to the next place and meet that next goal. And so, because of that, and because of those mentorships, I think it taught me how to be curious, how to be vulnerable, how to never stop learning. Not everybody understands every single thing, especially not the first or second time around. And so, understanding how I learn, how to be kind to myself, and kind of leaning on some of those foundational perspectives has really, really, really helped me a lot.
Awesome. And I know you've been involved and had great mentors. I mean, you obviously recently graduated lead ATA with the ATA. You got your CTP last year from MPTC, and you're heavily involved in Women in Motion. So, what does that organization's mission and everything mean, along with the certifications you've recently received?
Oh my goodness. Well, I love being a part of associations. It means a lot to me because we can all find ways to give back and contribute and learn. Right. It's not just about having a title or being on a board. It's about what we can do to further the industry. And that's why I love Women in Motion. I am so excited to be a part of lots of associations and organizations. But Women in Motion is especially special to me, because I get to learn, grow, contribute, but also we do really, really fun things like get together. We had a symposium recently. We also just met in Washington, D.C., and did a call on Washington where there were meetings set up with our representatives from the states that we were constituents of. And we got to talk about issues related to women getting into the trucking industry. We talked about bathroom access and truck parking and the Drive Safe Act and tort reform. I mean, we lit those representatives up. But it was awesome because they needed to hear from us. They needed to hear our voices, because the industry benefits when we all use our collective voices. So that's just something about Women in Motion that I especially love. I serve on the advisory board, and so I love being involved in lots of different associations, but Women in Motion definitely is, it's small but mighty. It's growing, and I love to be a part of it.
So, with you serving on boards and working closely with ATA and some of the other carriers, obviously you work close with training partners and you work closely with employers as well with your experience at 10th Street. What could employers and training providers do better to prepare a woman for a long term career in transportation?
Well, I want to say this, Steve, because I'm going to like challenge that just a little bit. Employers, of course, can do a lot to create space for women in the industry, but also women have to seek some of that on their own as well. And that means tapping on a shoulder, learning a new skill, being friendly. It's sometimes it's like I don't want to overthink it or over engineer it, right? Yes, employers can create space and provide opportunities. They need to understand that women can do anything. And let's not, typecast them and say, hey, you're a woman, you're going to order the coffee. Yeah, no. Okay. I don't even drink coffee. Okay. Whatever. Anyway, I do drink coffee, but that's just an example. We don't have to just be in nurturing roles or administrative roles. We have proven that we can do just about anything. So don't put us in a box, and really support an individual's goals. And then for the women out there, you have to know what those goals are. I have a calendar reminder every quarter to kind of check in with myself on my personal goals and ambitions, just to make sure that I'm on the right track. And I think everyone should be doing something similar to that.
Okay. And from a recruiter's perspective, obviously working at 10th Street, you work with a lot of recruiters. I mean, obviously because 10th Street's platform is amazing.
Mhm.
What can women entering the trucking industry do to stand out to employers and position themselves for long term success?
Okay. Now, from a women driver perspective, I think it's dual fold, right? Know what you're looking for, do your research, and just because it may be a trucking opportunity or a driver trainer opportunity or something along those lines, don't sell yourself short. Do the research, put in the work, and come with your stats ready to talk, right? Know your worth, and be prepared to have those conversations because recruiters look at that, right? Now, it's hard for anyone, but especially women, it's hard to toot your own horn. And sometimes you got to know when to toot it so that you can get the attention that you deserve and open the door for more opportunities in the future.
Perfect. Perfect. And last but not least, I want to ask you a question. What makes you look optimistic about the future of women in trucking? I mean, being at Women in Motion, you recently graduated League ATA, you're involved with women in trucking. I mean, you have a lot going on. I mean, what makes you optimistic about it? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, Steve, that's a really great question. And I think one of the things that makes me most optimistic is in my short time in the industry, comparatively speaking, of course, I have seen the rooms that I walk into change. There used to be only maybe a handful of women, but there are more representation now, more women in roles of leadership and even executive leadership, more women drivers who are statistically safer on the roads, which is good for all of us. And so we see a shift and a transition happening in the industry. And that's what I'm looking forward to. We're seeing a changing of the guards right now. And I love being a part of that. And so that's something I'm really, really looking forward to. Again, I've been in a lot of spaces and places where, I look out and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no women here. I was in a meeting recently, Steve, and it was great content. And they asked for feedback, and I got that mic, and I said, "Hey, the future is female. next next year, I want to see some women presenters up there, because I think we do the same things over and over again without really asking for feedback. But the industry has definitely become more open to women in all roles, and I love to see that change. It's changing now, but it's going to keep changing, and I love it.
One last question before we go, and I love to ask this question is, if you had to give one piece of advice to a student who's considering going into the industry, a young lady who wants to venture into the industry, you had to give one piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so you're in a CDL training program, you're getting technically certified, you're working to get that CDL. Do not ignore soft skills. A lot of carriers, you are the first person that their customers are going to see if you're going to pursue driving. And so understanding where you might need to work on strengthening any weaknesses that you have, but actually stepping up and having the conversations, working on the soft skills. Tap into your network. Ask people, hey, can you interview me? Can you do this? Can you do that? Because I think that that is very helpful. Yes, get your CDO, get all your certifications, get those endorsements, but do not neglect your soft skills as well. That's going to open up doors, those two combined.
Perfect. It's always a pleasure talking with you, Christy. I look forward to seeing you. I think I'm going to see you here soon.
Yeah.
And, I want to thank you a lot for being here. And I look forward to talking to you real soon.
All right. Thanks, Steve. This was fun. See ya.
Thanks, Christy. Well, there
What
we
a
go.
great start. Great start.
I love Christy. She's just got so much energy and she's got such a positive outlook. So, I'm really glad she was here with us today. So,
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. I think it was very important to talk about breaking down those barriers for women. Great way to kick off our webinar today. And it's my pleasure to go into the next conversation with Miss Carlene. Thank you, Steve. So with that, we'll get started on the next.
thanks, Kerrigan.
Hi, Carlene. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you being a part of the conversation. First, I just want to go ahead and turn it over to you and let you tell the audience a little bit about who you are and your background and a little bit of what got you into this industry.
Hi, Kerrigan. Thank you to Ancora for inviting Women in Trucking to be a part of this conversation today. And thank you for being a member of Women in Trucking as well as 10th Street. You both have been longtime members of Women in Trucking and supporters. And we truly appreciate all the value that you bring to our organization as well. I'm kind of like Christy. I've done a lot of things prior to being involved in this industry. And we find that happens to a lot of women. So that's one of the things we're trying to change. We're trying to not accidentally fall into trucking and transportation, but actually be a planned career move. So I was born and raised in California and started out as a publicist, promoted We Are the World and the Kennedy's Special Olympics, moved to West Texas, the middle of nowhere. It was tumbleweeds and oil fields, and followed my musician ex-husband. That's a country story, Edie. I know how much you like country. But anyway, and then now I'm in Nashville. I've lived here for many years, and it has become home to me. People call it Nash Vegas, and if you've ever been on Broadway, you would understand why that term is being used. But through the years, I've done a lot of PR, publicity. I was an editor of a newspaper, marketing, communication, sales, all these things. So the cool part about all of that background is I do all those things with women in trucking. And I've been with women in trucking now for 14 years. And actually, it's in 2007, Ellen Voya founded Women in Trucking, which is really a neat fact. We're approaching a 20-year mark of Women in Trucking really being the original organization to, Ellen had an aha moment and said, why aren't there more women in this industry? It's an awesome industry. So she started Women in Trucking, and it's just exploded, if you will. We have 8,000 members in over 10 countries. And as part of the executive team, I was on the team that established the Accelerate Conference, which now we are in our 12th year. And that's in October, the 25th through 28th at the Hilton Anatole. That's a very cool event where you see, unlike Christy just shared, a room full of men. It's probably 80% women with lots of men. But, I love my job. I love this organization. We're going to talk about the mission and all of that. But I do truly wake up every day excited that we are empowering women. And I like to say we're changing the face of the industry one woman at a time.
Absolutely. Cannot agree more. I went to Women in Trucking for my first time last year. Amazing vibes. So many women. Usually you go to conferences, very male saturated. Women in Trucking, totally different experience. And I love that. And I love that that's where this industry is going. Can't say enough good things about that. So tell us more about what really is at the core Women in Trucking and what makes that, what is the mission and what is the goal with the organization with Women in Trucking?
Yeah. So we recently just kind of tweaked and updated our mission. So it's really kind of a three-legged mission. So it's championing the employment and advancement of women in trucking, to foster connections, and to recognize achievements. So I'd like to just take a second to break it down. It's very similar to the original mission, but it's a mission that can stand the test of time because, first of all, championing women and advancing them, it strengthens the industry's workforce. If you're not looking at women, you're missing a great demographic. Women bring so much to the table. I mean, first of all, we know that we're multitaskers. We know that we bring different ideas to the table. The leadership skills, the communication skills that women have and bring. And we have labor shortages. So, tap into that market and open up, recruiting efforts, fostering connections. We all want to feel like we're part of a team, and we need to not feel invisible. So, just opening that up, bridging the gap, offering networking opportunities. And that's a big thing that Women in Trucking does. We want to build those communities, and we do that through our conference and through our Salute to Women Behind the Wheel, with our Engage platform. And we have Went on the Road events. Our members want to have those touch points, and they want to get to know each other. Like even at the conference, we have our interactive discussions during lunch, and the HR people want to meet other HR people. So during the year, they can call and say, I've got this challenge. How would you deal with it? And then finally, the recognizing achievements. I mean, that's huge. Visibility changes culture. And so by promoting women at the core, our top women to watch, our top companies for women to work for in trucking, distinguished women in logistics, we have our influential women in trucking, we have our driver of the year, and our member of the month. And, all those things, by putting those women and those companies out there, really increasing that visibility, makes for other women to say, wow, I want to work for that company, or I want to do what she does. And it makes them believe in themselves, because it's like, you're showing me that you did it, so that means I can do it.
That's exactly right. And having those connections means everything. It takes just one small conversation to open up a bigger discussion, and it can affect those individuals nationwide, companies nationwide, to make this change and move towards, like Christy said, a future that is female. So I love that. With your experience, when you're looking at the current climate of women in the industry, when you're seeing women advance, what trends are you seeing of women advancing in the industry? And in addition to that, what else are you seeing that's kind of a barrier? So not only trends that are, helping women advance, but also some barriers that they're facing as well in the trucking industry.
Well, our tagline for women in trucking is from the driver's seat to the C-suite. And we truly are seeing that women are entering all the fields now. So whether you want to drive the truck, own the truck, design it, build it, own the trucking company, market it, sell it, whatever, there are so many jobs available, and they truly are opening up, and women are becoming involved in technician roles and maintenance and safety and compliance, and of course leadership, the C-suite and VPs. So we're definitely seeing a trend in women entering and advancing in all roles that were more male. We like to say male populated instead of male dominated. And then also just an interest in driving. We're seeing that women looking for a second career are entering into the driver role. Maybe they're an empty nester, and they put in their time as a teacher or in healthcare or whatever it is, and maybe their husband's a driver, and they're a team driver. They want to see the country, they want to experience life on the road. And when, like at the Mid-America Trucking Show, you see a lot of women who have entered this in later years, and I've had many conversations with women who they just love it. They love the autonomy, and they just love seeing the country, and the money.
Yes, absolutely. And it's a great avenue for women that I don't think is often thought about. So that's why this discussion is so important today. So final question for you, kind of a two-pronged question. One, what excites you the most about looking ahead in the trucking industry and women advancing in the trucking industry? What excites you about the future? And in addition, if you just had one last thing to say, if there's an organization watching today and they say, I want to make a change, I want women to want to work for me, what piece of advice would you give them?
Well, the exciting thing that I see, and I'm going to go back to, is just seeing at different conferences, women in the room, women in the boardroom. I mean, that is very, very exciting to me. And as the industry changes, women are a part of it. They're a part of the change. They're in the technological roles. They're doing all the different things that were, predominantly performed by men. And there's just so much passion in this industry, and everybody's trying to make it better. And so that's exciting to me. I mean, we've had a couple of rough years, and I think things are getting better now. But, the respect for the industry, I mean, we all know, pre-COVID, a lot of people didn't even understand until we didn't have toilet paper, right? And then they're like, oh, I guess trucks are important. They bring everything without a truck, you're not going to get your stuff. We know our Amazon comes daily for some of us and weekly for others, but, we understand what life is like and how valuable trucking is to our daily lives. And then the second question was, what would I recommend? I would just say, of course, join Women in Trucking because we are here to offer, our partners and our corporate members just great opportunities um, to better their cultural climate, to help them understand how to better recruit and retain women, just understanding the psychological parts of all of that. And, to really support their male allies, we need men to support this change, So, Women in Trucking is about women, but not just for women. And so I want to make that clear too, that we love we love the men who support women in trucking.
Absolutely. It takes all of us, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Carlene. I appreciate you being here, sharing your experience, and I appreciate Women in Trucking as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Great conversations. I'm loving the energy today. Loving
Yeah,
it.
I love the Women in Trucking Association. It's so powerful, and I've been to their annual event. I love what they do. Whitney, their educational trailer, love seeing it on the road when it's out there. So, can't wait to get back to another WIT annual conference. So, which I believe is coming up in November, I believe. So,
Yes.
anybody's interested, look into it.
Yep, absolutely. And with that, we'll get into our next speaker, Miss Edie Mays. She actually is an instructor for Ancora Training. So she's boots on the ground, like I say. So she's with the students day in, day out. So definitely want to get her perspective on women in trucking.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank
Hi,
you, Kerrigan.
Edie.
Thanks.
Thanks for
Boots on
being
the
here.
ground. One of my favorite expressions. Thank you.
Yes, of course. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. You're star of the show. Give us a brief story,
No,
background,
no, no, no,
who
no, no,
you
no.
are, and
Okay,
what you
okay,
do.
okay. So, first of all, thank you for saying that, I think. But let me say, totally not the star of the show. Not when you've been wearing a hard hat all day and you've been sweating and smell like death fluid actually right now. But I I do love being boots on the ground, and the usually one of the first things people ask me is, so how did you go from acting to trucking? Oh yeah, okay. Well, COVID, as many people as both Miss Carlene and Miss Christie have both said that yeah, COVID changed everything, and it certainly changed the entertainment industry, how people consume media. So it continues to change the entertainment industry. When Apple TV can be winning Academy Awards, that's a very different change than what it was before COVID. So I thought, oh, after the first year and a half, I thought, well, it'll end soon, I'm sure. Not. So, but I thought, oh, I should go do something to make some money, like a side hustle kind of thing. Yeah, I'll go play with big trucks. That'll be fun. And it was a little more than a side hustle. And I loved it. I loved driving over the road. And my kids needed me home a little bit more. So I looked for opportunities around, used 10th Street to look for opportunities around where I was and saw the chance to teach. I thought, I've been teaching and mentoring all my life, foster parent. Like, yeah, what's this about? Fell in love with it. And as Ms. Kiana Sanders with Ancora obviously says, yes to all of us instructors, program directors, and says, yeah, you were truck drivers, but now you're educators. So take that history of truck driving with you, but now you're an educator. And I love that. I love it because the teaching is why, and the effect on the students, the engagement with the students, that's why we all continue to do what we do in the 110-degree heat and or the 22-degree hail, whatever it is, we do it because of that. So, yeah, so that's a little bit about why I'm here and doing this.
I love that. Like I said, you're super passionate and we can feel that. And I love that so much because I know the students do too.
Thank
So
you.
when
Yeah.
you talk to young women that are entering the industry, what are you seeing, them, let's just say if you could give them any piece of advice of how they could kind of frame their mind to say, this is an achievable career for me. Because a lot of women I feel, they don't automatically think, oh, this is achievable. So how is this, something that could be an achievable career for young women?
Or even something that they'd be interested in at all. I mean, shoot, half the time I go to, if I go to a function or if I'm speaking to somebody, if be they a student already or I'm at some event. I recently did one at a local high school that um, that these folks were like, well, I'm only here because they didn't have something in the field. I want, yeah, like I needed something to fill my 15 minutes. Or if women are already in the class, it's like, yeah, well, I'm here because my husband, blah, blah, blah. And that way we can be team drivers. Or, and here's one of the most powerful ones for me. I'm here because of fill in the blank hardship. Here's one, and this is true for men and women. Yeah, well, one of the most jarring stories for me was, yeah, I just got out of prison about a year ago. I was in for 13 years. And this is an industry that offers that chance, and an industry where you'll see a lot of different demographics cross, and to see that and to let people know, yeah, this is possible for anybody. And I don't care what size you are, what color you are, what how you see yourself, it doesn't matter. This is it, most of all, it's fun. And so go, just go do. And if it doesn't, if it's not, if, oh boy, that part doesn't appeal, let's try this part instead. As you know, both Miss Christie and Miss Carlene alluded to, but or spoke on that. Yeah, just go try it. Be curious. Go see what it does. If you don't like it, okay, go to the next part of the logistics industry, because this, as we've said, this industry is huge. We've got to get our toilet paper. Carlene, you're hilarious. Yeah.
Yes, gotta
Yep.
get that. Gotta
Yes.
get that. It's
Yes.
definitely bigger than I think people give it credit for. And once again, we saw that during COVID, and I think
So
that's
many
brought life
jokes I'm not making, Kerrigan. I just want credit for the things I don't.
Oh, I know, I know.
Okay.
So, when you speak with young women about trucking, when they're first entering, and not even just young women, just young people in general, when they're first entering trucking, they all have those pre-deceptions or false interpretations that they have before they get into trucking that they already kind of think. So tell me a little bit about what are those thoughts that they have before they get into trucking, and then in addition to that, when they get into training, what surprises them, or what kind of is, oh, I didn't realize that this would come with a career in trucking. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's interesting because beforehand, like I said, some people are like, well, I'm only here because of whatever, or this is my last chance, or second chance, or whatever it is. But it's also not the other one that I didn't speak on it, and thank you for asking the question, is I can't do this. Are you kidding me? And look at all these guys, and they'll look around at the other people. No, you go ahead. You do the maneuvers first, and no, no, and really wanting to take a back seat at first, and like, what have I done? What am I doing here? Like, there's a lot of that that I've seen, and but it doesn't take much. And it's one of the things I love best about Ancora training in particular, is that they're so true to, no, we train at, this is the training standard. This may be the testing standard. This may be somebody else's driving standard, somebody else's training standard. But our training standards here, I have a lot of respect for that, which is why I stay. One of the main reasons why I stay, because after the training, or maybe they leave class and or in training, they have their CDL, and okay, here I go. Huh. And there's still, maybe that still lingers on a little bit, but the second that they do the thing, they bump a dock for the first time, they get it into a tight spot, or they've hooked something in some oil field or whatever the thing is. I get texts, I get messages, I get a call. They're so proud of themselves and the confidence, and they're excited, and like, I dare I say empowered, because I think that that word can be used overused, maybe, I don't know, but it's just the heck yeah, I'll say heck yeah because it's a webinar. The heck yeah, yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, and it's a different, they carry themselves differently, they look at themselves differently, they speak to others differently, and seeing that, particularly from women, because of maybe it was coming from they started here. No thanks. um but from men as well, to that, coming from that place of to, yeah, that's right, I did that. That's that's pretty amazing. I think that's why a lot of us continue to do this job, because of that, seeing that happen.
Absolutely. And I love that. Those aha moments are what makes it worth it, especially when
Yes.
you have a student who just does not believe in themselves or hasn't had anyone believe in them. And they're like, oh, wow, I can do this. This actually isn't as hard as I thought it was going to be.
So I have to say two things, because you brought up two things. One of the things I say in every class, and I repeat it over and over again, none of this is hard. This is my quote. None of this is hard. It's just new. None of this is hard. It's just new. And you said aha moment. Yeah, when that quarter drops, that's powerful. That's powerful. So yeah, I
Very-
love it. Thank you for saying that.
so powerful. I love it. So, as the trucking industry continues to face this workforce shortage,
Mm.
what is something that makes it important to fill the talent pool with women? What makes it important for these industries or these companies to look to backfill women in these positions?
You said backfill. That's like this webinar being called Shifting Gears. That's awesome. Let me drive right to that point here again and answer that question. It's so many fun to me because we rock. Because women rock. I mean, so do dudes and men and everything, but women rock. And um, I mean, you just heard from some really from two Miss Carlene and Miss Chrissy. I mean, those are two dynamic, smart, and just vital. That vitality that they bring to this is just it's really great. And there are especially women who are willing to step into an industry that may be atypical that women don't typically go into, and the ones you are inviting into your industry are going to be pretty dynamic. They're going to bring it. We bring it. I think we bring it. So there's that. Um, there's also studies, statistics, which I can't cite. So somebody Google it or something. And Steve knows it, or and Miss Christie knows it, and but I don't know it. There are studies that say that women are Miss Christie referred to it are safer drivers. Also, that women are more adept at being fighter pilots, for example. Well, I've also found that women are more open to receiving teaching and instruction. Um, they get out of their own way, if you will. Not that not that other folks are egotistical per se. That's not what I mean. But it's just that they're they're more of an open, an empty vessel that you can pour into because I don't know. And sometimes, not all times, but sometimes the folks are like, "Well, I've been driving since my granddaddy had me on his knee." Blah blah. Those folks, I'm like, okay, awesome. I'm glad you have all that experience. Let me can you get out of your own way though for a second and let's learn this because it's a different skill set now, and we ain't in your granddaddy's truck anymore. So sometimes it's challenging. I know, I'll do it. Yeah, I know, I do. Oh, I've been doing that, and you see that less often in women. And also, I think studies show that hand-eye coordination is tends to be developed sooner and therefore strengthens longer. So, but things like that. So I think that yeah, invite women in because you're going to get some pretty great thinking brought into a company, or and also you're going to get people who are physically skilled. A lot of women feel like, oh, I'm too small, I couldn't. It's a big truck. Uh, I think Miss Carlene referred to a lot of manufacturers are making trucks more ergonomic. Is that the right word? More so that the pedals will move and come closer for people. I'm pretty tall, but so that relatively speaking, but that so the pedals can come closer. Yeah, bolster, get a bolster, get the seats adjust differently. That they're making those changes to make it more accommodating, not just for women, but for folks that are of a different stature. Um, and I think that stuff like that needs to continue to happen and be important. And that's what, and you guys said a bunch of group names that I knew nothing. The CTP PDZB, and the AMLLOP group, and Women in Motion. Women in Motion would be WIM, the WIM group. I just don't know of any of those. And I've been doing this. I've only been doing it for 5 years, five and a half, I think. And but I think I've heard of Women in Motion, but I know nothing. I've been doing it for 5.5 years. So uh, help. Like I'm taking notes while they're speaking. Okay,
Yeah.
I need to look that up. Yeah. So
Yes.
yeah, but yeah. Did that answer your
Totally.
question? Did that answer your question?
Hey, yes,
Okay.
it did. It did. And I love that you ended on that because exactly why we have platforms like this, because there's so many people that it's like you just don't know if you don't know. And being able to get on a platform like this and talk about it and say these names and say these events is what it's all about. And just helping each other in this community. So I
And
appreciate you sharing your experience
thank you.
today, Edie.
And
Like I
so
said, you're a
Garrett,
big part
the
of what we
producer,
do.
will get mad if I say one more sentence. If I say one more sentence,
Go
will
ahead,
Garrett
go
yell at
ahead.
me later? Okay. Let me just say this. I really want to drive this home, but I really, all the things that have been spoken about here today, I want to extend that presence into more places. Really, the boots on the ground, as you said. I just want to bring that back. That where up and coming women are, can we put more people there? Can you, Miss Kerrigan, can we go to and get in there and say, hey, the folks women, ladies, gals, this, and really be that presence. I think it's necessary, and to do it in a more those visibility changes. I'd like to see it in a different way. Be done in additional
Yes.
ways. How about that?
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. I'm on board. Yep, completely agree.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Edie. I
Of course.
appreciate you so much being
Glad
a
to
part
be
of
here.
this
Thanks.
conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was pretty energetic conversation. I love it.
Absolutely. Love the energy. Definitely great conversations, great speakers. I appreciate all the speakers being a part today. We couldn't do this without sharing, your experiences with us and having these topics to talk about. Like I stated with Edie, I mean, this is the perfect platform for us to share ideas. And of course, I hope that everyone walks away with something today. And with that, we can get into the Q&A. I also want to go ahead and say, I think I missed it at the beginning, but I'm going to go ahead and say it here. Please fill out the survey that you're going to get in your email after this call. That is how we get your feedback. We want to hear from you. We want to hear also in the future what you would like to hear from us. So please fill that out. But with that, we can get into the Q&A.
Came in. So the first question that came in is actually from Miss Christy Choice. What qualities help women stand out and succeed in the trucking industry today?
Ooh, really, really great question. Before I answer that, oh my goodness, what a great conversation. I have enjoyed listening to Carlene and Edie. Oh my gosh, this is so great. So now to answer the question, I think there are three things that I can think about. Number one is competency. Know your stuff, right? And I think that even in my roles that I've held, there are times when I'll be quizzed on something to determine what I know versus what I don't. Sometimes I gotta say, "Hey, yo, I know this stuff," right? But being competent, being confident, and then also being courageous. A lot of times you may find yourself being the first to do something, and just walk forward with your head held high, having practice and having done all that you can do, and believing in yourself. So I think those are some of the things, and they all just happen to start with a C. Um, oh, and I'll throw another C word in there: consistency. So competence, confidence, consistency, and courage. Those are some things that women can do to stand out as they begin to occupy the trucking space even more.
Outstanding. Question for Miss Carlene. How can mentorship help women grow and become more visible in the trucking industry?
Well, I think having the support of of your company or of a peer in another company, networking with others. I mean, it just elevates everyone. And when if you have a challenge or a best practice, and you can tap into somebody else and get that information and solve problems together, it just helps everyone. So having a mentor, having that support gives you the confidence to, and in Christie's, statements, it does propel you. And I wanted to make a side note because it's something Edie said, or maybe it was Christy actually, talking about tooting your horn. That is something at Women in Trucking. Men, we found that men will check the boxes like, oh, maybe I haven't done that, but I can do that. I can do that. And women don't. We're kind of shy about our skill set. So I think that mentorship and that support and that networking allows us to kind of be confident in everything that we do.
A question came in from an individual, and it's a question for all three of you ladies. Is safety in the workplace a topic that is discussed uniquely for women in trucking? Who wants to
Well,
take that one on?
Well, I'll start it. I think we could all contribute, especially Edie there, that our hard hat wearer in the group. But I think safety is universal. Safety is for all. Now, when we talk about safety, there's lots of different types of safety. And if we're talking about physical safety, I think that for the drivers that I have spoken with who are women, there is an element of safety that they're more concerned about because they have to have adequate parking and bathroom access and are really on watch for, what they're doing, what time of day they're doing, and things like that. But there are groups that come together to publish, materials that are going to help women as they are driving. But yeah, if you're talking about like physical safety, I've heard some women drivers say, "Look, I wish somebody would roll up on me. I got them," and they,
Facts.
they
That is
want
facts.
to be safe, right? But then from other perspectives about actually understanding the regulations, doing a pre-trip and a post-trip, understanding CSA and the basics, all of that stuff, it's still safety. So anyway, I'll pass it on and let somebody else talk about safety because it's relevant for all of us.
Go ahead, Edie, because you're
I
out
just,
there.
I,
But I
because I
agree.
just, because you could,
1,000% women in trucking. We're on the same page as, obviously you, Chris.
yeah, I'm so pleased that we had a dress rehearsal yesterday too, so I can get more of the nuggets of information that you guys are talking about. But I have to say, driving over the road, for everything east of the Rockies, for an over the road company, I never once felt unsafe with my peers. Never, not at a truck stop, walking through a parking lot, with that's mobbed, and I'm walking in with my shower gear, and yeah, could that be? It typically would be considered a vulnerable space. Yeah, well, it's not, because I know somebody approached me and did something to me. Not only, not only Christy, but I'd be like, yeah, come on. But yes, but which is not always appropriate. Okay, but I know that also 10 other people would pop out of a truck with some tire thumpers and have my back, and not because I'm a female, but because I'm part of that community. They call it a brotherhood, but so I guess I'm part of a brotherhood. But it's I'm part of that group, and so when you pop out of that truck, yeah, there are a lot of surprised faces, like, oh, and yeah, sure, well, people ask something, or but I never ever felt unsafe or had anybody do anything. Heck, I've had more troubles in the workplace, in an office sort of setting, or in a professional thing, than I did driving a truck. So, and feeling unsafe, I felt more unsafe at public rest areas than I did in a truck stop. I have not felt, so maybe I'm being naive, but I have not felt unsafe in this industry at all.
No, I don't think that's naivety at all. I think that that's real experience because
Thanks.
a driver who I have worked with really closely and been on some panels with, one of the things that she said was very similar to you, Edie. She said, "Oh, my brother's in trucking. They look out for me," and
There
that
you
phrase
go.
stuck with me because
Yes.
yes, there, I mean, and we travel and we go and we do so many things. I
Yes.
travel often alone, and I don't feel unsafe, but that doesn't mean that there aren't some women out there who do,
Sure.
have those moments. And so I'm happy
Sure.
to promote the positivity of the industry and not just talk about the negatives. We want everybody safe, no matter if you work in the office or if your truck is your office.
Agreed.
We want
Agreed.
everyone safe, right? And that's going to vary from person to person.
You guys are so smart. Miss Christine and Miss Carlene, you're so smart. I'm glad I was only invited because of my weird little background. But that's nice. Thank you.
Oh, Edie, you belong here, honey. You belong
Thank
here.
you.
We got
Oh,
this.
see, that's some facts. Thank you, Miss Christine.
Outstanding. I do want to tell everybody who's listening, I was corrected. The Women in Trucking Accelerated Conference is
Is in
October
October.
28th, and it'll be in Dallas, Texas. If you have any questions, you can reach out to Women in Trucking. So
Thanks,
that's
Steve. I was going to correct you, but I'm glad you corrected yourself.
well, it's okay.
You were
So
close, Steve. You were close.
yeah,
Yeah, and people on Google. Mhm.
but that's pretty much all we have for the questions today. So, ladies, I want to thank you personally for being here and speaking today. It's been very informative, and I've really enjoyed the conversation.
Appreciate
Thanks,
being
all.
here.
This has been great. This is so great.
Hope I
Thanks
didn't
so
ruffle
much.
too many feathers, as usual. Thanks, gang.